Hey gang, Joyce with Skipping Calves Farms here. Spring has definitely begun to sprung, whatever. If you look over here on the roadside bank over there, right above the sheepfold, those are daisies. They don't usually come out until after the 1st of May, but they've been out since the second week of April. Everything is about a month ahead for us. I have fear it might be a really hot summer. But something I picked up online, and I apologize. I cannot remember where I heard it, but I've been using it ever since. And that is working with garden hoses. Years ago, I worked for a short period of time doing floor work, and one of the most important things in dealing with electric equipment like that was how do you deal with your cords, vacuums or floor polishers or things like that. And you look at this, that's a 100-foot 5/8 inch hose attached to a 100-foot 3/4 inch hose. That doesn't matter. But what you see is a figure 8. Why? Because have you ever noticed when you curl up a hose like this, it gets all twisted on itself and it gets kinked and it's a pain in the tush and it's just not a lot of fun at all? Well, the way you avoid that is with a figure 8, because when you get a loop, it keeps going in the same direction. But when you get a figure 8, you do a half a loop this way and a half a loop that way, so it unwinds itself. A half loop this way and a half loop that way, and so it unwinds itself. So when you pull it out, it doesn't kink. It's always better to pull it out when you've got a little bit of pressure in the hose, just in case. Another thing that I switched over late last summer, early last fall, I went online and found, I think it may have been from Amazon. I generally try not to buy from Amazon. If there's something on Amazon that I really like, sometimes I'll just go to the original vendor and go to their website, not their affiliated website. It's getting harder to do that, but usually you can get a better price from the vendor that way, even if you have to pay shipping. I got the connectors, I got the gate valves, they provided the Teflon tape. These are brass. So many of the garden hoses anymore are made out of aluminum fittings. And if you put a brass fitting on aluminum fitting, you're going to get corrosion, and they're going to freeze. They're going to freeze together. They're going to you're going to have problems. So it's a good reason to use Teflon fittings. But the thing that I like about, well, let me go back. I apologize. The thing I like about the fittings that I got from these guys, and I basically used a gate valve on every garden hose connection, and that's twofold. Number one, I've got more control. Number two, the price I paid for these a couple 3 years ago was basically the same as the cheap stuff that you could get from Amazon or Home Depot or someplace like this. And these are really heavy duty, but I bought packs of 10 in order to get that kind of pricing. Well, stop and think about it, gang. If you got to go 10 minutes or 10 miles round trip to go get a fitting for a garden hose, and it takes you half an hour to do it, how much money did that cost you in gas and lost time and trouble? Whereas you can get, a box of 10 fittings, they'll fit in the palm of your hand, and you just saved yourself a couple of trips. Now you have it when you need it. And I try to use that thought process with a lot of the things that I get. But with the garden hoses, that figure 8 coiling of a hose and using those gate valves is really a nice thing. Another reason, I'll just do it this way now. I wasn't going to, but I'll go ahead and do it this way. If you're dealing with weather, whether it's real hot, on this hose, there's a white piece of plastic on here that just came off today. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but right here and here, it's a different color. Red hoses are going to fade faster than anything else. That's just a function of the physics. But if I don't want to have to walk all the way back down here, which I don't, or if it's a super hot day, I can just open this. See, this is a gate valve. It's a nice gate valve. Can you see that? It's a nice gate valve. So I can just open that just a tiny tad. See if I can do this with one hand. And these things fit so nice and tight. I can just see just a tiny little stream and leave that off. I'm not going to lose, but maybe just a few ounces of water in the time it takes me to go through my gate, hook it back up behind me, put it behind the brick, put it behind me, come back up here, and the water system that I have is not standard. My water line is what you would expect to find on irrigation or with livestock, which is a 1-inch 160 PSI HDPE pipe. And then this is a plastin fitting. The female hooks on. I got double clamps instead of doing the really expensive fittings. It's above ground, so it doesn't matter. Now I'm just going to go ahead. I got a Y from the same company. Can't see. I got a Y fitting here. So I got 2 hoses, and on one of them I've got a Boogie Blue carbon filter, and just going to turn the water off here. Another thing you might see is you can see if my fingers are working. You can see here, this is the manufacturer's spring protection to keep that garden hose from kinking. Well, because of the setup that I have, I needed this to be longer. And I've actually used this technique in a number of different ways. I actually used it with other garden hoses that don't have one of these. You basically just, this is about 9 or 9.5 gauge aluminum wire. I think I wrapped it around a tire iron. And that's how you make the coil. And then you just, you can go back to where I showed you on my, making my sheepfold. You basically just thread it at a 45-degree angle, and you just wrap the coil around the garden hose, and now you've got a homemade spring. Does it work as well as the specialty made carbon steel that has just the right spring and tension? No. Does it protect my garden hose from kinking anyway? Yes. Did it cost me anything more since I already had the wire? No. So, repurposing ideas, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated and profitable, productive management principles or problem-solving skills that you can have. Because farmers have to do deal with the chaos that nature gives them in front of them, and they've got to do it with whatever they have. And so that's what you do. So with that, gang, I will wish you blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing the dream.